Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our English podcast that helps you speak English more naturally and with confidence. If you like learning real-life English in a clear and simple way, don't forget to follow the channel and share this episode with a friend who's learning too.
Yeah, we are so happy you are joining us today.
We really are, and today we are going to slow things down a little bit. We are taking a deep dive into a very specific piece of grammar.
Well, this is a good one.
It is, but it is also a structure that I think it scares a lot of people.
Absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. You hear this grammar everywhere. You hear it in movies, in pop songs, in everyday conversations.
Right. But when you actually try to use it yourself, it feels really difficult, like a mouthful of marbles.
Exactly. It feels heavy to say.
We are talking about the structure would have followed by a past participle.
Would have plus a past participle. Even the name sounds very technical.
It really does. But our mission for this deep dive is to prove that this isn't just boring textbook grammar.
No, not at all.
We want to show you that this is actually, well, it is like a secret code.
A secret code. I really like that description.
It is. It is a code for rewriting history. It is a way to talk about things in the past that did not actually happen.
Which, if you think about it, is almost as important as talk about what did happen.
Yeah, we spend so much time in our heads imagining different outcomes.
We really do. And would have is the exact tool we use to do that in English.
You're right. It is the grammar of imagination. It is the grammar of regret. And sometimes it is even the grammar of detective work.
That is true. So if you are listening right now and you feel like your English is stuck in the present tense, this deep dive is going to help you unlock the past.
We're going to break this down piece by piece.
We will speak slowly and clearly. And by the end of this conversation, you won't just understand it, you will feel comfortable using it.
Let's start with the core concept. The source material we're looking at calls this the unreal past.
The unreal past. That sounds a bit like a science fiction movie title.
It does sound strange, but the meaning is actually very simple.
Right. When we combine would and have, we are sending a clear signal to the listener. We were saying, abandon reality.
Abandon reality. I love that. We are talking about a timeline that does not exist.
Exactly. So would have plus a verb means you could have done something or you were going to do something, but it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. That is the most important part to remember.
Yes. It is about an action in the past that is not real. It is completely imaginary.
Okay, before we get to the stories and examples, let's look at the mechanics.
The building blocks.
Right. How do we build this sentence? What is the formula?
The formula is very rigid. It doesn't change. You always start with your subject.
So words like I, you, she, we, they.
Exactly. Then comes the powerhouse phrase would have.
Subject then would have.
And finally, you add the past participle.
Let's pause on that for a second. The past participle.
Yeah, that can be confusing.
In grammar books, learners usually see 3 columns of verbs. There's the present, the past, and
the third column, we often call it V3. That third column is the past participle.
So, for example, let's take the verb to do. The 3 forms are do, did, and.
Done. Done is the V3.
Okay, how about the verb to write?
Write, wrote, written.
And the verb to eat.
Eat, ate, eaten.
Great. So the formula is subject plus would have plus V3.
Let's look at a primary example from our sources today. This is a sentence you might say to a friend.
Okay, what is the sentence?
I would have called you.
I would have called you. Let's analyze this together.
Let's do it.
Okay, so if I say that to you, I would have called you. Did I actually pick up my phone and call you?
No, absolutely not. My phone never rang.
But did I want to call you?
Yes, the intention was there. The plan was probably there. When you say I would have called you, it implies that in your head, you were ready to do it.
But something stopped me.
Exactly. Reality got in the way.
Maybe my battery died.
Or maybe you got busy at work. Or you fell asleep.
So the action of calling only exists in that imaginary timeline, in the unreal past.
Precisely. The real result is that no call happened.
Let's try another example to really solidify this. She would have passed the exam.
Okay. She would have passed the exam. Let's look at the facts of the real world. Did she pass the exam?
No. Sadly, she failed.
Right. That is the hard truth. But with this grammar, we are looking at an alternate reality.
An alternate reality where maybe she studied harder.
Or maybe the questions on the test were much easier.
In that alternate reality, she passed. So we say she would have passed.
Correct. We are imagining a totally different result.
It is so interesting because it allows us to overlay a phantom timeline right on top of the real one.
Phantom timeline. That is a perfect way to put it.
It is like telling a ghost story about what almost happened.
It really is. Now, usually when we create this phantom timeline, we want to explain why we are creating it.
Ah, yes. We want to explain the condition. And this brings us to the famous if connection.
Yes. The source material talks about the third conditional.
The third conditional. That means would have often lives inside if sentences.
It connects a cause in the past to a result in the past. And remember, neither of those things actually happened.
Let's look at the source example. This one is very, very common for English learners. If I had studied, I would have passed.
If I had studied, I would have passed. Let's break down the truth behind this sentence.
Let's play a truth game.
I love the truth game.
Okay, truth number 1, did I study?
No, you did not study.
And truth number 2, did I pass?
No, you did not pass.
So the entire sentence is the exact opposite of reality.
Precisely. The real logic is, I didn't study, so I didn't pass. But we use this grammar to imagine the opposite scenario.
If I had studied, that is the imaginary condition.
I would have passed, and that is the imaginary result.
When you really think about it, it is quite a philosophical piece of grammar. It is how we process our mistakes and our failures.
Yes, it is deeply human. And that leads us directly to a very strong emotion.
Regret.
Yes, regret. That heavy feeling in your chest when you are sorry about something, when you wish you could go back and change the past.
Would have is the perfect grammar for regrets. It expresses the feeling of if only.
Let's look at an example of regret from the text. I would have helped you.
I would have helped you. Let's imagine the context for this one.
Okay, maybe I see you today and you look very tired. You are rubbing your shoulders, your back hurts.
And I tell you, yeah, I was moving heavy boxes all day yesterday.
And as your friend, I feel bad because I wasn't there. I didn't help you.
So you look at me and say, I would have helped you.
It means I was willing to help, my heart was in the right place, but I didn't help you because I simply didn't know you needed it.
It is a really nice way of saying, please don't be mad at me. I am a helpful person.
Exactly. It repairs the relationship. Here's another one from the sources about regret. We would have come earlier.
We would have come earlier. What is the situation here?
Well, imagine we arrive late to a fancy dinner party. Everyone is already sitting down and eating.
Oh no. And the host looks very unhappy.
Right. So we want to explain ourselves. We need to diffuse the tension in the room.
We can't change the fact that we are late. That is the reality.
No, we are definitely late. But we can offer an alternate reality where we were perfectly on time. We can say, we would have come earlier, but the car broke down.
Or we would have come earlier, but there was terrible traffic on the highway.
It signaled to the host that being late wasn't our choice. It was an accident. It shows our good intentions.
It is a very polite way to apologize. If you just walk in and say, we are late, it sounds a bit rude.
It does.
But if you say, we would have come earlier, it softens the blow. It sounds polite.
It makes a massive difference in social situations.
Now, here is where the grammar gets really interesting.
Oh.
We don't just use the structure for imagination and regrets. The source material highlights a completely different way to use would have.
Yes. This is a major shift in meaning. Sometimes we use would have to make a guess.
We act like detectives. We aren't 100% sure about something in the past, but we are making a very logical guess.
Let's look at the example sentence. He would have arrived by now.
He would have arrived by now.
Now, listener, pay close attention here. In all our other examples, the action did not happen.
Right.
But in this example, does it mean he didn't arrive?
No. In this specific case, we actually think he did arrive.
That is a total flip.
Yeah.
It is the exact opposite of the unreal past.
That is super tricky. How do we know the difference?
It all depends on the context. When we use it for guessing, we're usually looking at the time or using simple logic.
So if I say he would have arrived by now, it means I know his train schedule. I know how fast he walks from the station. Logic tells me he is currently there.
Exactly. Think of it as probability. He would have arrived. I am 90% sure he is sitting in the office right now.
Let's try another guessing example. They would have forgotten.
They would have forgotten.
Imagine you invite some friends to a party. The party starts and they don't show up. You look at the clock. You say to your partner, they would have forgotten.
You're assuming that is the real reason they aren't there. You're almost sure of it. You know these friends are a little bit forgetful anyway. So you deduce the cause.
Okay, so would have can be past unreality, but it can also be past probability.
Correct. Listeners, just pay attention to the context clues. If someone sounds certain and they use time phrases like by now, they are probably guessing.
Okay, so we have imagination, we have regrets, and we have guessing.
That is a lot of ground covered.
It is, but there is one more variation in the formula we need to talk about. Would have been.
Ah, yes. Would have been. This is where we change the verb at the end.
Instead of an action verb like called or passed or studied, we use the verb to be.
Correct. And the V3 of to be is been. So the structure becomes subject plus would have been plus a noun or an adjective.
This lets us talk about a state or a feeling that didn't happen.
Let's look at the source example for this. It would have been better to leave early.
It would have been better. Okay, so was it better?
No. Because we didn't leave early. Maybe we left late and we got stuck in awful traffic. So the real situation was bad.
But we are imagining a better situation. It would have been better.
Exactly. Here's another one, focusing on feelings this time.
She would have been happy.
She would have been happy.
Imagine you completely forgot to buy your friend a birthday gift. She was sad. Later, you realize your big mistake.
You sit there and think, if I had bought the gift, she would have been happy.
But she wasn't happy. Because the event giving the gift never happened.
And finally, we can use would have been with an ing verb to talk about a continuous action in the past.
For example, he would have been working at that time.
He would have been working.
This sounds like we are describing an ongoing scene in that phantom timeline we talked about.
Exactly. It means if we had visited his house yesterday at 2 p.m, we would have seen him in the middle of working. That was his continuous state.
This would have been structure is incredibly useful for describing situations and atmospheres. It really is. It adds so much color to your English. Instead of just stating boring facts, you can paint vivid pictures of what might have been.
Now, speaking of color, I think we need to talk about the dark side of this grammar.
Dark side.
Yes. The mistakes, the common errors that trip people up.
Yes. And we should say, even native English speakers make these mistakes all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So learners listening right now should not feel bad at all. But it is very good to know the actual rules.
So what is the number one mistake people make with would have?
The biggest mistake is using the wrong verb form after the word have.
Oh, I know this one. Can you give us an example?
People very often say, I would have went.
I would have went. Yes, I hear that constantly.
It sounds almost logical to a learner because went is a past tense word, and we are talking about the past.
It feels logical, but it is incorrect grammar. Went is the simple past. It is V2.
And the rule of English here is ironclad.
What is that rule?
After the helper verb have, we must always use the past participle. We must use V3.
So, I would have went is wrong. What is the correct way to say that sentence?
I would have gone.
I would have gone.
Yes. You must say, I would have seen, not I would have saw.
And I would have done, not I would have did.
Yeah, it's a great rule to remember. Always put a V3 after have. If you can fix just that one single thing, your spoken English will sound so much more professional.
Absolutely. Okay, what is the second big mistake people make?
This one happens a lot in the if sentences. We call it the double would mistake.
The double would. Okay, show us how that happens.
Students often think to themselves, okay, The whole sentence is about the imaginary past, so I need to put would everywhere to show that.
Makes sense in theory.
Right. So they say, if I would have studied, I would have passed.
If I would have studied. You know, that sounds almost right.
It sounds very close. But strictly speaking, it is wrong. The word if does not like the phrase would have. They do not get along.
They shouldn't be in the same room together.
They definitely should not be in the same part of the sentence. If strongly prefers the word had.
Ah, okay. So never put would have right next to if.
Correct. You should always say, if I had studied.
If I had studied, I would have passed.
Perfect. Had goes with if. And would have goes in the other part of the sentence, the result part.
That is a very clear rule. If listeners can just remember to keep if and would have separated, they will sound much more natural.
It really makes a big difference.
Let's do a quick comparison for clarity before we wrap up. The source material gives us a really nice breakdown of the different woulds in English.
That is a great idea. It can get confusing because there are so many of them floating around.
Let's place them side by side on a timeline to see the difference clearly.
Okay, let's start with just would plus a base verb, like would go.
Would go. This is usually the future and the past.
Right. For example, he said he would go. At that specific moment in the past, it was a plan for the future.
Okay, that makes sense. And then we have our main topic for today, would have gone.
Would have gone. This is the unreal past. I would have gone, but I didn't.
Then we have would be.
Would be. This is usually an imaginary present or an imaginary future, like, it would be nice to see you tomorrow.
And finally, would have been.
Would have been. The unreal past state. It would have been nice to see you yesterday, but it didn't happen.
I think seeing them all side by side really helps clear it up. Would go is about plans. Would have gone is about missed opportunities.
That is a fantastic summary. The word have is basically a time machine. Have pulls the whole sentence back into the past.
So after all this, what does this mean for our listeners? Why should they struggle through all this complex grammar? Why not just use simple present and past sentences?
Well, language is ultimately about connection. And we connect with each other through our stories.
And not all stories are about what actually did happen.
Exactly. Sometimes the most interesting, most human stories are about what didn't happen. The deep regrets, the what ifs, the alternative possibilities.
When you master would have, you can finally share your inner world with people. You can share your complex feelings.
You can say, I would have called you, but I was too scared. Or, I would have traveled the world, but I didn't have the money. It explains who you are.
It really makes you a deeper, more interesting speaker. It adds so much depth to your conversations.
It definitely does.
Before we finish today, let's look at a few final examples from the source to make sure this really sticks in your mind.
Sure. Here is a very practical one you can use for shopping. I would have bought it, but it was too expensive.
I would have bought it. So you are walking away from the store totally empty-handed.
Yes. You really wanted the item, you imagined owning it, but the high price tag stopped reality from happening.
And here's one for a life experience. It would have been amazing to see that concert.
It would have been amazing. You could almost feel the excitement in that sentence. But you missed the concert. So you missed that amazing feeling.
I feel like I understand this entire concept so much better now. It's not just a grammar table you have to memorize. It's a tool for storytelling.
That is absolutely the best way to view grammar. It is just a tool to help you express your true self.
Okay, here is a provocative thought for our listeners to take away today. I want you to play a little mind game.
A little homework assignment.
Yes, but a fun one. Think about your day so far. Just today.
A simple daily reflection.
Is there something small, just a tiny small thing that you would have done differently?
That is a really good question to ask yourself.
Maybe you drank tea this morning, but right now you are feeling very tired. So you can say to yourself, I would have drunk coffee instead of tea if I had known I would be this tired.
Or maybe you left the house and forgot your umbrella. You can look at the rain and say, I would have brought my umbrella if I had checked the weather.
Try to make just one sentence about your own day using would have. say it out loud to yourself, get your mouth used to the shape and the rhythm of the words.
Practice really does make progress.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the unreal past. We really hope this complex topic feels a little bit simpler for you now.
We hope so too. And remember, language learning is a long journey. Take your time with it.
If you enjoyed this slow, clear English lesson, please share it with a friend who is learning too, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone. Keep practicing.